Welcome, everybody. I am Camille Sargi, your host of Just 2 Minutes. And today we have Frank. Frank, you want to tell us about yourself?
Sure. So, hi, thanks for having me here. I love real estate, enjoy starting businesses, and I've been very lucky with some of the deals I've been able to pull off over the years. Started out just as a school teacher and was working a second job. And then eventually now I have a decent sized portfolio in about 12 different markets around the country.
Yeah. Super excited today because you do have a unique story and very inspiring, especially for people who are out there working and, they have that vision that they're going to invest in real estate one day and grow. So, but you're here today because the show's called Just 2 Minutes. And I'm going to take just 2 minutes to ask you like random questions, and then we can go into the real stuff.
Awesome.
All right. And I got my timer here. And go. All right. So like when you walk into JCPenney or Macy's or Bosco and they say, you've got an eye of a fish, what do they mean by that?
I mean, these glasses might be a little thick now, but when you say eye of a fish, I've actually never really heard that term before. I guess if I had to guess, maybe you have one way to look at things, and one of the ways I look at things is to try to find deals and opportunities.
Nice. Okay. Like gifting, right? If someone gives you a $5 Tim Hortons gift card, what do you do with it?
What I usually do with it is I usually let it sit around and then forget about it. But the goal is to usually meet up with someone else. It's a great opportunity to spend a few dollars as I'm networking.
Cool. Oh, what's your favorite seed?
We can go with pumpkin seeds.
Yeah. If you could go to any country in the world, right? You go there and you demand respect. Where would you go?
Demand respect. I've spent a lot of time in Latin American countries, mostly the Caribbean. So we have a hotel in Punta Cana. I would love to get down to Argentina at one point. It seems like a really beautiful country, and I hear they have amazing steaks. Huh?
And that's where you demand respect.
Well, I mean, when you say demand respect, I mean, I've never been one to really push it and demand respect, but definitely a place that I would love to gain some respect, buy some property, etc.
ABBA. Why do they call it ABBA, not Bab?
I don't know. I've seen the ABBA presentation. I enjoy their music, but ABBA, I don't know. I guess it's just how you pronounce things in different countries.
Bob. B-A-A-B. ABBA. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, welcome. This is great. Thank you for coming here and getting interviewed by me.
Yeah.
And answering these weird questions. But now it's time to get serious. So tell me, like, what inspired, like, before real estate happened for you? What got you to that point where you said, oh my gosh, I need to invest in real estate?
So I've always, when I was a kid, I always had like a little bit of an entrepreneurial enjoyment. Mm-hmm. So I remember back in the day, I had like Fast Frank sports cards. In this couple summers, we set up a table on the bottom of our driveway and we tried to sell baseball cards and basketball cards. So, I mean, I've always had that enjoyment of trying to figure out cool ways to make money. My dad owned a couple single family houses that he got from my grandparents, but he never really grew that or did much with it. He did a lot of the work himself. I always saw real estate as an opportunity. I was a workaholic. Gradually, as you start to make more and more money, I mean, what do? You can spend it, you can keep up with the Joneses, you can donate it. And I thought investing it was probably the right way.
Awesome. You were working a lot and, trying to grow that money. You worked at Sam's Club.
Yep.
I know people when you work hard in a job that, I'm not saying it sucked, but a job that sucked, you sit there and you're like, you work harder at what you're growing in the background while you work at the job that sucked or that was painful. Did you have that? And did that kick you a little bit to like make risks that are?
I don't think that I took too much risk. I did luck out a little bit with timing as well. But one of the things I did is I read, which many investors have read it, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Actually, before that, I read The Cash Flow Quadrant, which is one of his other books.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, in the Cash Flow Quadrant, they talk about having employees, small business owners, big business owners, and investors. So with that being said, what I did at one point is they say you're basically going to become what your 5 closest friends are. So as I'm working the pallets, I actually cut off a piece of cardboard, and with my marker, I wrote down my 5 closest friends at one point. I think I still have one iteration of this at home. And I mean, at the time, they were all employees. So I tried to estimate what their income was and just think about how I wanted to change and grow. And then over time, I started to think about, who do I know that I'm not really close friends with, but I want to be closer to, and what they do. And that's what ended up happening. So, for example, Rick, he founded the local RIA. Rick was on my list of people that I want to be more like. Rick is very much an investor. Yeah, so he basically lent out money. He owns a few single families. He's done a lot of cool different real estate opportunities. And those are the people that I try to become more like.
Wow. Yeah. So it's like surround yourself with people that you want to be like and inspire you, and you inspire each other and grow together. Right?
Yeah. I mean, if you have 5 great hardworking real estate agents and you hang out with them all the time, you'll probably become a hardworking great real estate agent, right? If you have 5 friends that know every statistic about the NFL football, you're probably going to become pretty smart at that if you really like it and you want to do it.
Nice. Cool. So you wrote that on the cardboard.
Yep.
You crossed some names out?
I mean, I'm still friends with everybody on that list.
Yeah.
But I would say that we've kind of started to stray apart a little bit. I was working 7 days a week, so I didn't spend a lot of time with them. But there are people that if I ever wanted to call them, if I called them, they'd still pick up the phone and everything else. But we don't spend as much time together as we used to.
Okay.
And they're still, I mean, this is almost 20 years ago. So, I mean, I'm still friends with all of them, but they're still all employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 1 or 2 are retired now, but they never really attained anything that I was going for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like they're bad people. They're cool friends to hang out with. Yeah. It's just that you're trying to, you focus your attention and think about and talk about investments in your day-to-day, plus with your friendship, you start to grow and have ideas together.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like some people have different opinions on real estate, or different opinion on investing, or different opinions on stocks. It's like, you're never going to make any money in stocks and this and that. And it's like, if you keep listening to those type of friends, you're never going to be able to do it. So, I mean, do I have some stocks? Yes. I'm very heavily weighted in real estate right now. Yeah. Most of my friends, they might own their own house, a few of them, but they've never had an investment property.
Okay. So once you started hanging out with investors, that's when the shift happened, you think?
I mean, like I said, I was always intrigued by real estate and I wanted to grow it. But yeah, I started to go to local meetups, the local RIA, consistently. It's all about consistency. So every month. And then over time, you start to hear about other cool deals that people are working on. You learn just different aspects of investing and you find opportunities. And if you've ever played Cash Flow 101, which is a little board game that Robert Kiyosaki talks about, you keep going around in the rat race, but there's all these opportunities that come up. And eventually you try to do something with one of those opportunities.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like fast forwarding maybe.
Yeah.
At what point did you say, damn, this is amazing and I could probably like do this instead of what I'm doing in my day job?
It probably took me a decade, but I probably could have done it quicker if I was more focused on it. And this was also before the internet, and I mean, not the internet itself, but like how much content there is now on investing online. I mean, this is before, when I first started doing this was like 2005, so it was before Bigger Pocket and a lot of those other websites, and it was before a lot of these real estate gurus were out there. I was just like, I can do it, and I slow and steady. And then eventually, like 2019 is when I really started to leave W-2 jobs.
Wow. Cool. I remember you posted that and I was like, that's awesome. Good for him. I love hearing stories like that. Like, it's so cool. And I think more people need to you were inspired. You had that fire inside you to like, I got to do this. Like, and you get excited about it. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, like I said, I do have a great story. There are harder worker people than me. I've found some great opportunities. I mean, I am a workaholic, but at the same point, there are people that inspire me too that are in the industry, so that are local.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's what I'm saying. Like, inspire each other.
Yeah.
Keep growing together. Like,
So we do that now. Since I run the RIA, we actually have a spotlight on a member like every month.
could you just say what RIA is?
Sure. So I run the local Rhode Island real estate investor group. When you say RIA, it usually means association. And it's all about education and networking. So like once a month, we try to have somebody that's newer in real estate that does a presentation to motivate others to invest.
I love it. Well, when did you start this?
So actually, I took it over from one of my mentors, Rick. Rick started it in 04. And
Wow.
I took over around 2018 or 2019. And it was a little tough during COVID, but we didn't stop. We did online Zoom calls. And now we do 2 meetings a month, one online and one in person.
Okay. A lot of success came out of that for you.
I mean, I have at least 5 partners in that group. I've borrowed millions of dollars from people in that group. I have a bunch of passive investors that are investing in my deals around the country from that group. So yeah, I've had a lot of success from it. And I mean, it's not perfect. I mean, there are definitely deals there are a lot of opportunities. It's what you do with them.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay, let's fast forward to the future. So what do you have now, if you don't mind?
So I mean, in Rhode Island, we probably have about 40 to 50 units right now. They don't necessarily make a lot of money, but they're gradually the tax deductions, some cash flow, paying down the debt. Things are expensive right now. In other parts of the country, I have some JV deals, say in West Virginia. We just sold a JV deal in New Hampshire last year. On the syndication side, which is I'm running deals and people have passively invested in it, we're spread across the fruited plain. We have stuff in Idaho, Arizona, Texas, South Carolina, Massachusetts. And then we have a boutique hotel in Punta Cana. And
wow.
That was really fun. I'm sure we could spend a whole episode just talking about cool stories about that.
That's a cool way to get away for a vacation, take a break. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I go there. I mean, it's a business expense for me, but I do go there once or twice a year. And it's nice because there's so many opportunities down there. We've looked at more opportunities down there. We're always looking at deals because of social media, because of the RIA. People bring deals all the time. And once in a while we look at them. We were looking at a deal in a hotel in Nicaragua 2 weeks ago. We're probably going to pass on it. It doesn't look like it makes a lot of money. And it's 2.5 hours from the airport. I mean, there is potential. There's seller financing opportunities, but there's so many other opportunities that one just doesn't work for me.
And it's hard to get to, for a trip.
Like I said, it's 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
But there are people that would jump at this opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, just to have that idea of that. So you don't have to answer. Well, okay, wait. Just for the audience, JV is joint venture, but you don't have to answer this. How many corporations or LLC are you a part of?
I mean, I don't mind answering it. I have at least 10 LLCs just that own various things. And then besides that, we also have what you might call a single purpose entity, which is an LLC, but it might own one property. Well, I'm not counting those because that LLC might be owned by my other LLC, stuff like that.
Amazing.
The accountants love me because they pay them so much money.
You know what? This week you need to open up another one. You're like...
So my main banker, she always asks me, do you want to open up another bank account? It's like, I already have 12 with you guys. I don't need another bank account this time.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, people out there, if you're watching, if you have one LLC, one corporation, definitely your accountant can help you set things up the right way. But yeah, that's great.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of friends that they might own one investment property and they just own it in their own name. And I try to explain to them, I said, the more assets you have, the more you need to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
So I do recommend owning at least one LLC, if nothing else, to start tracking some of your expenses and writing a few things off. If you have a business, you have things that you're doing specifically for the business.
Yeah.
So one of the things, I used to be a school teacher, and once in a while I do go into classrooms and talk about investing.
That's awesome.
So one of the things I try to explain to them is that when you work a regular job, you work and then you pay taxes and then you get paid. They take it off the top. You clean it up at the end at tax season. But when you have a business, you or other people work for you, then you have business expenses, and then you pay taxes later. So there's a difference.
Yeah. Have you been, or how early on in your whole investing and taking risks where you got burned? You don't have to go into detail, but
I can go into as much detail as you want.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, even before I was doing real estate, I definitely lost money in stocks.
Stock's horrible.
I did a little bit too much investing in 98, 99. I lost money on my first real estate deal. We bought a vacant lot in Western Massachusetts at an auction. We went down a land auction down in New York City. And even though you try to learn stuff, land is a different animal. It's not producing income right there. So there was a lot of problems with the land. It had a lot of shale. So it was not easy to put a septic in. It was not easy to put a well in. And we ended up selling it back to the auction company. I think we lost about between $20,000 and $25,000 on that.
Wow. And starting off, that was the first lot.
Deal. Yeah.
That's a lot. Why? I'm sure you got hurt, emotionally,
Oh, definitely. I mean, I've definitely made all that back. It was painful, but you learn from the process.
Yeah, but your first one, you're like, this is, you see your,
yeah, it's like, this is more than a year of me working part-time.
Yeah. It must have really.
It was painful.
And what got you to say, screw this, I'm going to continue doing this?
I wasn't necessarily ready to really shut off like that. I just was unhappy with myself, and I realized you really got to focus on things you understand more than things you don't understand. You can learn stuff, but on certain opportunities, you might want to partner first. So I was telling you about all the crazy deals and stuff, opportunities. So for example, there's an opportunity right now in a Caribbean island where someone reached out to buy a tourist fishing business. What we would do is we'd rent the boat for half a day. They'd go out and they'd fish. We'd feed them. And it's a cool opportunity to seller financing. And my partner, and he's right, he says, yeah, but we know nothing about fishing and we know nothing about boats. So while you get excited, you can make money, this and that, it's nice to have partners that pull you back a little bit and say, maybe if you can find someone with that experience.
That's a good tip. What other things you think someone, especially new, should watch out from or can be better prepared when taking risks?
One of the first things that's hard to do, don't get super excited about a deal. Because when you're looking at it and you get very excited, you tend to get almost myopic, fish eyes. You tend to look at all the benefits, but you're forgetting all the expenses and all the risks. So, I mean, we've bought opportunities where the insurance almost tripled in the first year. We've bought opportunities where the taxes on real estate doubled in the first year. And it's like that wiped out our entire cash flow.
Yeah.
So there are risks involved, and you learn, you gain. How do you not make mistakes? By having experience, I guess. And how do you gain experience? By making mistakes. So it's definitely a process.
Right. If you don't get hurt with touching the fire, then
how would you know?
How would you know? Yeah. Then you wear special gloves where you can touch the fire and not get.
Yeah, and you can joke that building friendships, partnerships, knowledge, and experience, those are all those extra pairs of gloves.
Mm-hmm. So that brings me to my second thing. I'm sure a lot of people, even maybe back then, and I'm sure now, approach you and say, hey, can we partner up? Can we partner up? How do you identify, especially someone you've never met? And have you gotten burnt by trusting the wrong people?
Yes.
Okay, duh. That's a stupid question.
No, I mean, so my suggestion, especially if it's locally, try to know someone for a while. You want to have dinners with them if possible. If this is the local stuff, you want to know them for at least a year if possible. You want to get so comfortable that they're not just putting on a show every time they're with you. So I'm not saying you have to go out partying, get drunk, and hear all the stories, but if you hear them talking during dinner about, oh yeah, this was such a story and we screwed that guy, it's like, yeah, it's a big red flag. But the best example I give you of partnerships, my current partner, so we own a virtual assistant business, and he was a real estate agent in Rhode Island. He came to the local RIA and he says, hey, I'd love to do a deal with you someday, this and that. And I said, you know what? The best thing to do is to build a relationship. So he's standing next.
Buy me a steak.
What?
Buy me a steak dinner.
No, it's not about that. But
you want to get to know them.
You want to get to know them.
Right.
He's sitting there at the RIA. Within 5 minutes, someone walked up and said the same thing. And when that second person left,
In front of the other
yeah,
person?
I mean, it's always networking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Pedro says, I'm never going to do a deal with you, am I? I said, build a relationship. Become friends on social media, get their phone number, spend time with them. And if the right deal arises, the right deal arises. So we built a company that 6 years ago, now we make 7 figures in revenue every year. And it's a great relationship. I've never worried about money with him. He's never worried about money with me. We have a joint bank accounts with 6 figures in them. And we're working other deals, other opportunities. We have this working business that helps other real estate investors. I mean, how can you go wrong?
That's amazing. Okay, so that's the bright side. But any stories of like trusting the wrong person and really getting burned?
I can't give away too many because I'm still involved with some of them. But
Oh my God, you're still...
well, sometimes when you're stuck in a deal,
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a piece of real estate that's not making any money, that's hard to refinance, and partners don't want to sell, you can be stuck for a little bit of time. I had one person, I won't mention their name, that didn't pay their property manager. They did not pay the insurance on a property that they were responsible for paying the insurance on. So we had no insurance on a property. Luckily, we did not have a problem. It was a big deal that I found out after 6 months we had no insurance.
Man.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily... Yeah. By the way, I've seen worse property managers than that too. But yeah, that was a very big disappointment.
Yeah. It's interesting what you say about having dinner with them and hearing them saying how burned someone or whatever. Because to me, like when I meet someone, I like to, get to know them obviously, but when I hear them talking about their enemy and how they deal with their enemy, it makes me think, okay, so if I was the enemy, that's how they would treat me.
Yes. That's a perfect example. My big thing is that partnerships are hard. Partnerships always sound perfect when you start. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a marriage, but it's like, how do they react to problems?
Yeah.
And if you have a lot of negativity, I try to find solutions to problems, but there are some people that just complain and have a lot of negativity with problems. It's like, do I really want to do another partnership with them? So I try to avoid them, but it's hard to tell sometimes.
What about like asking other people, hey, do you know this person? Any experiences with them? Or
that's a great idea as well, especially if you're staying local.
Yeah.
Obviously on the national side, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
I have lucked out and done pretty well, but on my first deal outside of the area, I bought a deal in Idaho. It was a referral from a VA client, actually. And I said, if there's one word that you can use to explain this person, what would it be? And he said integrity. And I thought that was a pretty good word to use. And the relationship has not been perfect, but the person does have integrity. The property's had its issues. The partner that we called integrity, he definitely has too positive a view of things. And he doesn't understand sometimes that, you're too nice. So it's doing okay. But even like when we're trying to sell right now, it's like, what do you think it's worth? And he was off by probably $1 million compared to what we're getting offers for. Because he's too positive. You know?
So I have a list of 20 people, and you tell me if I should trust them, okay? Donald Johnson.
We're doing this on video?
I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, I didn't know Donald Johnson. I know David Johnson.
So I want to talk about so many different types of investments. You want to break it down, there's this type of investment, this type that I'm involved with.
So most of my investments are real estate related. Most of my investments are just standard buy and hold small multifamilies.
And rents.
Yeah. And you're generating rent. You're trying to provide good, clean housing for someone. And you're trying to make a little bit of profit every month. Then we have local flips. We might buy a single family or a 2-family, try to buy it cheap enough, put in the work, and then put it on the open market. We have both of those things, but at a bigger level. So we have some buy and hold long-term apartment complexes, between 50 and 150 units. We have some same thing, but maybe like a 2 or 3 year hold, where we're doing the fix up and then we're going to sell it.
When you say it's joint venture stuff?
Yeah, or sometimes it's like 1 or 2 partners.
Okay.
It's not always the same partners.
Yeah.
It's whoever brings the opportunity, see if we can bring value to each other. Usually someone might offer an opportunity that's local to them. So like when we close on a deal in, say, South Carolina, they might be boots on the ground in South Carolina. Because I don't want to fly there every week or stuff like that, but I can give advice from my own experience on how to help them. I can bring the money. I might be able to sign in the mortgage, things like that. So besides that, we have the hotel. We currently have an office in India that we do some tech development and web software stuff.
Cool.
Yep. We built an app 2 years ago called Perfect Bookkeeping. It's a free app, and you can track all your business expenses on it. We have the hotel in Punta Cana. We're looking to buy land in Roatan, Honduras, and build homes.
Wow.
We have property under contract there to build like 50 homes and sell them off. We have 18 acres in Texas to build our own mobile home park. And then we have the virtual assistant business. It's called Real Helper. And we help real estate agents, property managers, investors squeeze more time into their day. Because the office in India, we're actually building hotel software so that other hotels, boutique hotels, can use it.
Nice.
Yeah, just a few things.
Yeah, wow. That's great. And you've evolved into this throughout years, like throughout your experience. But you started with real estate, and then you saw opportunity, like, let me grow and look at other...
Yeah, so on my LinkedIn profile, I think I have like real estate investor and entrepreneur.
Awesome. If you were to coach someone or mentor someone, how do you teach them to take good risks?
So when we say good risk, I would say build as much experience or knowledge as you can to begin with. Try to find someone to partner with that's done it or that you trust. And try to get into an opportunity with the smallest amount of money down possible and have reserves.
For backup.
Yeah. So for example, I had someone reach out the other day for coaching or mentoring, and they want to buy a 5 to 15 unit apartment complex. Not necessarily around here. They want to do it in down south, Georgia, South Carolina. And I said, well, how much do you have to put to work? And they said $30,000. I said, that's not enough. I was just flat out. It's like, that's not enough. That should be like your emergency fund because, I mean, they're in their 60s. I don't know if they're working anymore. They may have other investments, but you really need to have money set aside. 3 months, 6 months, some type of dollar amount set aside before you invest with the rest.
Yeah. So that's good. Now, tell me more about Cash Flow Kings.
So the Cash Flow Kings is basically our real estate podcast. It's big on motivate, educate, duplicate. We try to motivate people to do real estate or other types of investments. We try to educate, and then we try to have people duplicate our success.
Awesome. Where is it on? Like on social media?
Yeah, I mean, we're on Spotify. You can connect. We have about 14,000 followers on Instagram. We're always posting content. It's just it's a great brand. We had to fight for it legally. So, we own the brand. We offer, once in a while, we might offer some kind of meetup or different things just to gain knowledge. I mean, back when we started, we had like 30 people playing Cash Flow 101 at a local restaurant.
Wow.
So, I mean, we don't do a lot with it, but it keeps our name out there, and we consistently produce podcasts a month. Nothing crazy.
Last question for you. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ooh, I laugh because that's the same question that we ask our people on the podcast.
Okay, I'm sorry. Where do you see yourself in 6 years?
No, so actually, the way I ask it is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Where do you see you and your business in 5 or 10 years? My goal is to continue doing what I'm doing, try to get my kids more involved. My oldest is a senior in high school. She doesn't know what she wants to do in college. I've tried to instill business acumen into their lives, my oldest and my other 2 kids as well. I had them lend me money on the hotel. They basically put $200 or $100 investments, and I gave them a crazy return. So if you played the game Cash Flow 101, it's basically 10% a month. So I pay my kids 10% a month just for their investment. I said, you're never going to do better than this anywhere else. So they invested $200, and every month they get $20. Little things like that. Where do I see myself? Probably still in Rhode Island, but continually doing bigger deals. We've passed on so many opportunities, having more great friends and great partners. And like I said, continue doing what we're doing. Maybe get a little bit more into AI. That's like the big thing everybody's talking about right now.
I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, so I haven't done enough, but my partners keep telling me, "Don't worry, we are," and I trust them. So we'll just keep growing with that, and I don't know, sky's the limit, right? Maybe more passive investing. My fingers are in few too many things right now. So if we don't sell off one or two things, maybe putting a couple passive investments to work.
If your kids ever want to get their license and work somewhere, I'd love to have them here at Google.
Sounds good. As far as I know, my oldest is probably going to go to Rhode Island College. She hasn't decided for what. She'll probably stay on campus because she's going to do a sport. She's in everything herself. Scouts, instrument. She's a workaholic.
Yeah.
Honors everything. So we'll see.
Yeah, my son's last year electrical engineer. He took a real estate class. He's studying to take his test next month. So, just having a license, and, his dad's a broker. So he gets to be involved. It's a good thing to have. So, Frank, where do people find you?
I am all over social media. If you just on Facebook, you just look up my name straight up, or LinkedIn, Frank Patalano. And then on social media, like Instagram and TikTok and everywhere else, we have the Cash Flow Kings.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. I'd love to have you again talk about the hotel someday.
Like I said, you could have a whole episode with the stories of how we survived a hurricane, and when we lose power, we lose water, or just crazy stories of someone climbing the side of the building like Spider-Man and stuff like that.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, I can't wait. That's going to be awesome. All right. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My agent's got a squad. We all in the zone. In-house help, so they ain't doing it alone. They focus on clients, negotiating win, while the back end's hand 'em, man, that's how we spin. I hand 'em business, watch 'em all climb.